If your steering wheel has more traction than your actual tires, that's a big O no. Thankfully, for all your car's big O no's, there's always a big O yes. Now through February 2nd, buy 3, get 1 free on select sets of 4 Aspen Touring AS or Mesa AP2 brand tires with paid installation purchase. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35 where permitted. See store for pricing. Eligibility may vary. Not valid with other offers. At participating locations, no cash value.
Kansas City's going to the Super Bowl. I repeat, Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl. This is not a drill. The Chiefs are super after beating the Tennessee Titans 35-24 in the AFC Championship Game on Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. They'll take on the San Francisco 49ers on February 2nd in Miami in Super Bowl 54. It's the Chiefs' first trip to the NFL's ultimate game since winning the AFL Championship in 1969. How did it happen? Well, that's what we're here to talk about. Star writers Vahe Gregorian, Sam McDowell, and Herbie Teope joined me, Blair Kirchhoff, to break down the victory over the Titans, including Patrick Mahomes' big moment. Oh, there were many. How the defense handled Derrick Henry, and much more. It started as a Facebook Live and now presented as a Sports Beat KC podcast. Here we go with the first of what will be many discussions of what is now the Chiefs' Super Bowl season. Well, look what we have here. We got us a Super Bowl team in old Kansas City town tonight for the first time in 50 years. I turn around and look at Arrowhead. There's still confetti on the field. I saw some people doing a confetti angel earlier today. They're pretty happy about things. Listen, what a day for one of the biggest days in Kansas City sports history today. Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship Game. And we're here to talk about it with you. Sam McDowell is here, Herbie Teope, Vahe Gregorian. I'm Blair Kirchhoff. And we want to hear from you and get your feelings about today and the Chiefs. And maybe we'll take a little look ahead to the matchup in the Super Bowl. But before we talk about what this means and in the moment for the Chiefs, City, for Andy Reid, for Patrick Mahomes, let's talk about the game a little bit. Let's just get into the game. And it's 10-0 Titans right off the bat, and 17-7 Titans. The Titans score on their first 3 possessions, right? Seen it before with these Chiefs. 24-0 last week down to the Texans, 14-0 to the Patriots in the AFC title game last year. Were you confident that the Chiefs would come back?
Yes.
You were at 10-0 and 17-7. You were confident they would come back.
I was pretty confident because of what we saw last week. And granted, I was a little concerned coming into this game because I thought it would be a lot closer than what a lot of the pundits thought. But what we saw last week with Patrick Mahomes and this offense and that defense, they were able to flip a switch. And so all I was waiting for was, where is that game-changing play? And lo and behold, Patrick Mahomes happened again for a second straight week. It was just phenomenal to watch what he's able to do. And so, I was confident they were going to come back.
Just unanimous here? We're all confident?
I felt like that. Let's put it this way. I didn't feel like I knew they would come back, but I didn't really feel concerned they didn't have a chance to come back. I think 17-0, you start feeling a little different.
And yeah, if it had gotten to 17-0.
Yeah, if that would have happened, but it didn't get to that. There was an interesting question after the Chiefs scored their touchdown, the first touchdown, to me, that Tennessee scored again right away, and so that one of the things that happened with the Texans last week was that number didn't change. The Chiefs kept getting closer and closer, and it didn't change. In this case, they upped the ante after the Chiefs started scoring, but it didn't matter, and it was remarkably similar sense of how it played out in the first half to have a lead achieved by late in the first half after falling into a little hole early.
Yeah, to me, the reason I thought they would come back was because the way that the game had unfolded was similar to last week in this manner, which is that some things had gone against them that I did not feel would be repeated. That they gave up 7 extra points because of Chris Jones offside. Because you pinned the Titans on 3rd and 5. You got to feel pretty good about that with the way they prefer to move the ball on the ground. And then the second drive, I still don't think that's pass interference. It may have been holding, but the fact that it was pass interference, it's the first time ever since the NFL invented this rule that I've said you should challenge that. And I wondered what they would have called that because it was holding, but they called pass interference. And once the ball was released, there was no contact. So I didn't feel like that was going to be a repeated mistake. So, and then Travis Kelce dropped a third down pass was the only way the Titans got the Chiefs off the field. So I think you could sense early on from the first couple drives that the Chiefs weren't going to have a problem moving the football today.
Yeah, but didn't we all kind of agree that this is the one opponent that you couldn't fall behind on, not 2 scores at least? I mean, not with Derrick Henry, not with the play action ability of this team. This is the team you did not want to be chasing. So how did the Chiefs get back into this thing?
Well, to that point, real quick, too, Tannehill, we all know didn't throw for 100 yards in the first 2 playoff games, threw for 100 just after the first quarter.
120 in the first half.
Yeah, and so obviously they
play action was working?
It was, yeah.
It was all they were running was play action and handoffs. Every passing play, except for some reason they emptied the backfield on 3rd and 2. But every passing play was play action, and it fooled the Chiefs for a few plays.
I think what happened, I don't know if this is a good way to phrase it, but it just the inevitable force of the Chiefs' offense just suddenly exerted itself in a way that I think at halftime you went in thinking that the Chiefs have this game. I thought that.
I thought so too. 4-point game.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I like the way you phrase that. The offense. I didn't feel at all today that the Titans were going to get stops, and I felt like the Chiefs eventually would get some stops.
I'll tell you what. I just thought, man, was it Kelce that dropped the ball in the first?
Yes.
First possession.
Same thing as last week.
Exactly, same as last week. I thought, where's the concentration? The one thing that they can't do is start like they did last week, and then Tyreek Hill drops a ball in the first possession of the third quarter, a first down, and I thought, I don't know, do they have it? Are they going to keep it going? But look.
But look, that was the moment, right? If the Titans were going to get back in it,
yes.
I say get back in it. They're only down 4, but if they were going to make their claim, I think that was it, right? You felt like there was
a chance we could have highlighted that play.
Yeah, there was. And I don't remember exactly what the next series was for the Titans, but they obviously didn't score a touchdown.
You're talking about the one of those
after Tyreek Hill's drop or open the third quarter.
Okay, but then the Chiefs forced a Titans punt, and then the Chiefs turned around and scored to make it 28-17. Well, look, Patrick Mahomes, he's a nice player.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. You're right. He's pretty nice.
A thing I got thinking about him was, and I guess we've all thought this in some other form, one way or another, right? But every time you think you're sort of not seeing the ceiling for what he can do, but you're like, the capacity to astonish you is kind of gone because he can do all these things. Then he does this run.
And to that point, it's a new manner in which he surprises you. I mean, we've seen so many wild things that he's done with the jump pass this year, the left-handed pass, obviously, the no-look pass. And it's a new way that he's shocking you. And that run was unbelievable. I called it in the story I wrote, I thought it was a championship run. I thought it was a play that was indicative of the moment for him.
And let's not forget how it ended with him barging through a couple guys at the end.
Exactly.
And I kind of teased him a little in the post-game news conference. Said, "Well, did Andy tell you he wanted to slide?" He goes, "No, Coach wants us to be ourselves. As long as you make a play with." I can't remember how he phrased it, but like within the script of how you're supposed to play football, something to that effect. But it was interesting, right? I think a lot of us might have held our breath a little bit when he's thrown himself into the fray like that.
5 Titans had a shot at him.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
5, and they all missed.
And actually 6, but there was a very plodding defensive lineman who never got close, but he had the angle. He had an absolute angle, and Patrick just left him in the dust. Yeah.
What stood out to me about that play is I looked back, and Eric Fisher's still standing at the line of scrimmage, and of course the rest of the Chiefs have all rushed Patrick Mahomes. And he's got his hands on his head and then on his knees and shaking his head, and he's just like in amazement. And it's like, it's what all of us are up here doing.
I asked Austin Reeder about that play in the locker room. I was like, what was your reaction to that? And he was like, it's probably going to show up on tape, but he didn't hustle because he said, I thought he stepped out of bounds. Then when I realized he didn't, he started running down the field. Kind of like what Eric Fisher probably thought. There's no way in the world he stayed in bounds. But
Patrick was one of the few who realized, of course, and he's the one that matters, that the play was nowhere near over because he saw a little funnel there down the sideline. He just kind of got to the sideline and realized there was more there that he could shoot for. I don't think anybody could see that from where those guys were. I don't think they were not hustling. I think they just, were kind of caught off guard.
I think Travis Kelce captured the moment best during his post-game press conference when he says, "That's Magic Mahomes." Yeah, that was complete magic. That's Magic Mahomes.
Keep in mind the clock is ticking, right? He scores with 11 seconds to go. I'm thinking, okay, at some point he's going to just step out of bounds.
For the field goal, yeah.
Yeah, or they'll take one shot at the end zone and then bring Butker on to tie it up. 11 seconds to go and they take the lead, and that's when I felt like now if they lose this game, you've got a play that'll be talked about forever in Kansas City unless they lose the game. And then it's just a great play that'll live on highlight reels, but you won't remember it as a championship play, as you call it, a championship run. But when he made that play, I just thought, wow. And you're absolutely right. Another dimension, different dimension to his game. And we talked about, this week how his running has just become a variable that teams have to deal with now. And he has been the Chiefs' leading rusher in 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
Your quarterback.
Yeah.
First quarterback to score a rushing touchdown for the Chiefs in a playoff game, and Mahomes has done it twice. Had one last year and one this year. What can't that guy do?
Yeah, I mean, I think to get to the running aspect of this, it's hard to know where it derives from, why we're seeing it so much more now. Is it because he's willing to put his body more on the line than maybe you want to risk in the regular season? He understands the gravity of the moment. Or was he that affected by his injury mid-season? We know he was against the Titans because he admitted that, but we're seeing him look for areas to run the ball a lot more. And he actually extended plays within the pocket a lot today too, to where he was looking downfield, and there was just wasn't anything there on that play. He was looking downfield, there just wasn't anything there, so he takes off. I don't think we saw him do it nearly to the degree of what he's doing it now. And again, I wonder if it's because he's feeling better or it's because he's like, this is the playoffs, I just want to win right now.
A thing that's kind of unbelievable that's also part of this is that we'd have to look at the numbers exactly, but he was much more sort of hobbled late last season than I think we realized. And I think it would show up in how much he ran or didn't run last year. So he's the Mahomes of these playoffs has a different dimension just because of that than he would have had last year, which is remarkable to say when he had at least 3 sort of either aggravations or ankle issues, and of course the apparently momentarily devastating knee injury.
Yeah.
I mean,
What knee injury?
That's right.
I mean, it's that. Of all the things that have fallen the Chiefs' way, there's still. I just cannot believe that injury was.
We talked about it. His knee. If your knees are facing 12 o'clock, his knee was facing 9 o'clock. That's how twisted his knee was. His kneecap.
Yeah.
It was that twisted.
The reaction from players was like, and we all thought, and I remember in the press box, like, are we witnessing the end of this Chiefs season as we know it?
Yeah.
You remember Clark Hunt actually said a couple of weeks afterwards he thought he had suffered a season-ending injury. So that was a worst-case type scenario when that injury happened.
And now there's just no indication that he's not slowed at all. In fact, he's running better than he's ever run.
I think we're seeing the best version of him. And I know he was phenomenal all last year, but I can't recall him playing better than what he has the past 2 games against quality opponents, obviously.
Yeah.
His touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, not the flip pass that went for 8, but the 20-yard strike to Tyreek
that laser.
Hill.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
that was a laser.
Hill was covered. It had good coverage on him, and it just put it in the one spot where Hill could reach for it and get it. I thought that was a remarkable pass.
I honestly still don't understand how a quarterback grips the ball in this cold. I don't get it. I mean, really, the receivers at least have gloves, but it's as if it's just 45 degrees and doesn't matter. I don't understand. I really don't understand the physics.
That's a story.
That's a show.
That's a story.
Not anymore.
That's right. I wanted to look up the past box scores and see when the last time the Chiefs played in an environment that was, a temperature that was above, 30 degrees, above freezing. It seems like it's been a while.
Does seem like it's been a while.
Chicago with the last road game.
Yeah.
Chargers game was cold.
Mexico City?
Might have to go back.
No, because that was actually kind of chilly that night.
Yeah, that was warm.
You had to put on a sweater.
That was kind of chilly.
Come on. It's too bad Mellinger's not here to hear you call that chilly.
Yeah, you guys might have noticed Sam is not here. He had to go home early tonight. He's still working on his column, and he said he would he'll join us. He'll join us again this week when we talk Chiefs again with you guys soon. Let's see. Larry Looper, good to see you again, and I'm glad you're tuning in. We'll get to the 49ers here in a little bit. We've got the game on, here in the press box, and let's wait till it's over before we take a look ahead. So let's move ahead and talk about let's take the helicopter view of this game and this occasion. One of the great moments, really, for an organization and a franchise that has had so much misfortune in postseason play, and we've talked about it so many times that you all know the games and the bad luck that the Chiefs have had, and now they have a Super Bowl appearance, ending 50 years of frustration. There aren't many teams in the NFL that have gone as long as the Chiefs have.
Fourth longest drought, I think.
Right, among teams that were still around then. I think the Browns, the Lions, and the Jets. Jets went the year before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so those guys have been
Browns
in the league.
and Lions have never been.
Right. And Browns and Lions were NFL champs in the 50s and the 60s, and just like the Chiefs were in the AFL in the 60s. So Kansas City Chiefs are going to a Super Bowl. I think that 100,000 Kansas City Chiefs fans will try to go to the Super Bowl, at least. But I don't know how many tickets are going to end up in the hands of Chiefs fans. I think it's good for Chiefs fans that the Packers are probably not going to win tonight, and they'll be fighting.
They travel well. Yep.
49ers fans for tickets. So, Vahe, you've been here for a few years. You've seen only the Andy Reid years in Kansas City.
It's kind of funny, right?
They've been terrific years.
Yeah.
Playoffs in all but one, winning records in all of them, but this was a pretty special moment for Andy Reid, for the Clark, for the Hunt family. Did I almost say the Clark family? Yeah. The Hunt family, not just for the players, but for them.
All that, and it's interesting, right? So Andy comes, and you get the feeling he's changing the culture, changing everything. They go 9-0 when he starts, but they still have another one of those just crushing playoff losses Andy's first year, and they've had a couple. So in some ways you start feeling like, okay, things are better, but when are they ever going to get to be what we hope it's going to be for Chiefs fans, what Chiefs fans feel? And then you get Patrick Mahomes, and I don't know if you guys all agree with this, but I think we've talked about it enough that we probably all see it the same way. Even when they didn't make it last year, you felt like that was the opening of a window, not the closing of one, and that this was going to happen. I felt like it was going to happen even before they got Patrick, but to think through, like, I was doing some of the math, more than 18,000 days. Sam McDowell and I both were on separate tracks doing the same thing. 29 quarterbacks in between Len Dawson and
who started a game
for the Chiefs between Len Dawson and Patrick Mahomes. Andy's the 12th coach since Hank Stram. Clark Hunt was 4, doesn't remember being at that Super Bowl.
He was, but doesn't remember.
Yeah, has a photo to prove that he was there. But interestingly to me, Clark's first memory of a Chiefs game was the Christmas Day 1971 Dolphins loss. And I think, in a sense, that's the thing that you put behind today, right? The term he used was, we're hoping to blot that out in Miami when we go down there. And I think that's sort of the symmetry of this, right? And Clark even acknowledged that his mom was kind of giving him an elbow in the ribs, saying, I'd kind of like to go to one of these for our team before I still can.
Right.
About 4 years ago, she said that to him. So it made for some color and interesting points in listening to them tonight. And of course, we're all thrilled for Andy Reid, who's, I think, just a fundamentally decent guy who's had a great coaching career, and this gives him a chance to crown it.
Yep. I saw a moment with Andy Reid, and I was talking to Anthony Sherman in the post-game locker room afterwards, and Andy Reid came up to him. He had just gotten done with his post-game press conference and walked in and gave him a hug and said, "One more." And Anthony Sherman says, "Yeah, one more for you." And he said, "No, for all of us." And he said, "No, for you." And just, I know I was standing there, but I still consider that a little bit of a private moment for them, not intended necessarily to be answering reporters' questions. And I thought it was just very indicative of just how the players view Andy Reid, for them to be considering, I mean, this is the pinnacle of their careers.
Yep.
And to be thinking about the guy you're playing for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something, I think. It says a lot about who Andy Reid is and what the players think of him. For
sure.
Kelsey actually mentioned that, too, at his post-game press conference where he said, hey, I love Andy Reid. Getting to the Super Bowl is, like you said, is the dream of every professional player, but they do want to win it for Andy Reid because, as Kelsey said, we're tired of the media saying he can't win the big one. You know, hey, we checked the box.
We didn't say can't, by the way.
He's probably talking about the national pundits.
We said he has not.
That is a national type argument or a national type debate. But he said, hey, we checked the box with the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Now we got to check the box one more with the Super Bowl championship. So it is, they do want to win it for the city, but also their head coach.
Well, I saw Kelsey on Frank Clark's back, just piggybacking into the locker room from where we stand.
Yeah.
Anybody else see any good scenes?
That was the best one I saw. What I was worried about was that Andy was going to start his remarks with, well, listen, so Frank had a little back problem, but he didn't, and I assume that means that was okay. I did not see much of that. Just saw a lot of, in that area, we're sort of set up in the area where the Chiefs come off the field, and we sometimes get interesting glimpses of celebrations with some of the fans there, but mostly it's just, this sort of excited yelling type of thing. And maybe some words we can't even use on Facebook Live after dark, but it was I didn't see anything any better than what you mentioned, Blair.
Colquitt held court for like 40 minutes at his locker and answered absolutely every question. I thought that was really kind of him. I mean, all these KC guys that we've been talking about, these big slick guys were in the locker room after the game. I mean, Paul Rudd was in there.
Charles was in there.
Jamal Charles was in there.
I asked Eric Stonestreet if he wanted to give a comment, and he was very nice and said he would be happy to do it outside the locker room later, but he's in their locker room right now. We didn't get a chance to reconvene, but I thought that was actually, I appreciated how he put it.
Yeah. But probably the best scene happened on the podium.
You guys all saw it on TV. I think I've watched that clip like 60 times now of Travis Kelce grabbing the mic. And there's so many elements that I catch each time I watch it. And my favorite is that Jim Nantz has no idea what's going on. And the way that Kelce grabs the mic, Nance's hand is on the mic, and so he has to grab his hand along with it. So he kind of gets yanked with it. And every element of that I just think is hilarious. But so I kind of dug into that story behind it. And what prompted me to do that is James Winchester, the long snapper, is coming out of the shower, and you can hear him before you can see him, and he's singing the song, the Beastie Boys song. And so somebody says to him, somebody says, hey, you're singing out loud. And he goes, yeah, blame Travis. And so I asked around, and they all get this song stuck in their head regularly because they play it on the speakers here all the time. And they said, I feel like it's our song here. We hear it so often that by the time you go home that day, if we've scored enough points, you get stuck in your head.
Is this going to come like the St. Louis Blues and Gloria?
It could be. Kelsey said when he was first asked the question, he had no idea what he was going to say. That's the
best, though. Yeah,
that's what came out.
The story that I ended up writing was a year ago when we were sitting in here talking about the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. We were discussing a loss to the Patriots in a shootout, right? 37-31 in overtime. And we all know Chiefs never had the ball in the extra period because the Patriots won the toss, took it right down and scored. And 2 days after that game, Bob Sutton was fired. Yeah. And that started a sequence of events that was orchestrated and with purpose and intent. And the defensive staff was basically blown out. And veteran players who had logged a lot of great seasons in Kansas City were not brought back. Yep. And I think Brett Veach and Andy Reid made a statement after the game, and they knew they had, a Cadillac of a quarterback and an offense that could score with anyone. But they weren't stopping anybody on defense. We saw it late in the regular season last year. They were giving up 4 or 5 touchdowns a game and having to outscore everybody. Well, Tonight was the reason they made all the changes, and it paid off. And Brett Veach talked about it a little bit in the post game. So, bringing in Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark and Damian Wilson and Rashard Breeland and Alex Okafor and Emmanuel Ogbah, two guys that didn't play because of injury, they made it a point to change their defense, and they brought in the right guys, and they guys with attitude and edge to them, and Frank Clark really has an edge to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, as we heard tonight. And I think this is why the Chiefs are here, or why they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to think this offense, as long as they've got the guys that they have, in their primes, Hill, Kelsey, and young Mahomes, I think they're going to continue to roll and score. They needed to improve the defense, and that's what got them to where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, the biggest name is Spagnuolo. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo has just, I think you could argue, has been their biggest offseason addition. And I know Tyrann Mathieu has been incredible, but we saw a lot of talented guys, I think, in the Bob Sutton defense that did not perform the way this defense has performed late season, that I'm not sure could have carried this team to the Super Bowl. And they made adjustments today, and I think what's even more impressive, and you might have gotten into this a little bit, Derrick Henry was a second-half running back. We heard that all week.
Yeah.
That this guy did all of his damage in the second half, and he was held to virtually, I don't know.
7 yards.
7 yards. 3 attempts.
Yep,
7 yards in the second half. I mean, they made some sort of adjustments, and that's what's been most impressive with these last 2 weeks is they've struggled early on, and the in-game strategy has changed.
And I think that, to your point about the adjustments, my first time around on this beat with Bob Sutton as defensive coordinator, that was always the biggest knock. Why aren't you making the adjustments?
Try something new.
Yeah, come out at halftime and adjust to what was killing you in that first half. You don't have that problem here. Spagnuolo does make those adjustments. And like you said, with Derrick Henry was a bad mofo coming into this game. 377 yards against the Patriots and the Ravens. That's an average of 188.5 yards per game. 69 yards today. He was a bad man, but as Frank Clark said, with that edge, we're the baddest mofos on the planet.
I think he said
they are.
MFers.
Yeah, MFers. We're the baddest
and
MFers.
that's how he said it, right? He said MF.
On the planet. Yeah.
We're not cleaning that up.
Yep.
Brian LaBerge says Mike Pennell was a difference maker, and he's right. Remember, Pennell, they got in mid-October and wasn't active for the Chiefs game at Tennessee. And, Daniel Beisinger agrees. And says Daniel Sorensen has really risen. And you spoke to this, that Sorensen's play the second half of the season has been really, really good, really solid. I thought, as well as the defense played today, and as well as they defended Derrick Henry, that the defensive kind of moment of the game was Sorensen's hit on Ryan Tannehill. When in the open field, just knocked him flat.
I had to stop right and say, "Who did that?" And you're like,
Right.
Sorensen.
Yep.
Rubber meets the road.
There were 3 or 4 big hits today. Tyrann Mathieu had a couple as well.
Yes.
Yep.
And that one, he had one that it looked like he could have hit him much harder, and it still was hard.
He just 2-inch shoves him down.
Yeah.
We have several who are getting us to recognizing Chris Jones' game today.
Yes.
Back-to-back plays. Remember that in that one series when the first series that he played from first down
Started
on.
playing every down.
Right, every down. Yeah. Sorry, Blair.
No. I was going to say, and this after he got off to such a bad start with his encroachment penalty that kept alive Tennessee's first scoring opportunity.
I asked him after the game if he was going to be 100%. I said, "Are you going to be full go for the Super Bowl?" Because even though he did start playing every down, he was limited today, and he said 1,000%. Now that is a guy that obviously wants to play, and there's not a lot of ways you can really answer that, but he was pretty forceful that he thinks he'll be full go once the Super Bowl comes. You get an extra week.
Bingo.
So that's going to be helpful.
Yep.
Huge.
Okay, they do get the extra week, and game number 19 approaches. 23 if you count the preseason. And
You don't count the preseason. Don't count the preseason.
Did
we still cover them.
Did we cover preseason games?
I don't know why, but
I'm counting them.
And we counted him.
They count. They count. So the long season continues for the Chiefs. Let's see. Since Super Bowl IV, they played 14 regular season games. It'll be the longest season in Chiefs history, right?
Yeah, interesting.
In terms of number of games played. And it looks like, and they're going to be playing the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, a team with a terrific defense, a really good running game.
Good play call.
Really good tight end.
Yeah, and Kittle the tight end.
Two best tight ends in football.
Met them in the preseason.
Did they play him? I can't remember.
I think so.
Preseason doesn't count.
They did, because D Ford didn't come back.
That's right.
And play
That was we were looking for.
So obviously
D4.
they'll be playing the guy that maybe cost them going to the Super Bowl last year.
It's kind of interesting.
Yep.
We have been told that the Chiefs will be a 1-point favorite. They'll open as a 1-point favorite against the 49ers.
Even though they lost to the 49ers in the preseason, 27-17.
Oh,
Completing the Chiefs' revenge tour.
that's right.
Please write a column on that.
What did we learn from that game? But it is interesting, isn't it, that to get back to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs did have to beat two teams they lost to during the regular season. And I think that's rare. I think that's rare. Not unprecedented, but rare. And I think another little bit of a statement about where this team is.
Adjustments?
Yeah.
And how about?
I think it's a statement to the coaching for sure.
How about the idea that Andy Reid has only beaten in the playoff teams from the AFC South?
How about that? How about that Andy Reid has now doubled his career winnings against the Tennessee Titans?
That's
with this
exactly
win.
right. And he evened his record as a playoff coach.
Yep, 14-14.
14. There we go. All sorts of Andy Reid trivia going
Not
here.
showing off, not falling too far behind. Teasing.
So the question I guess we ask ourselves is, did we notice anything or anything about the celebration tonight that leads you to believe that the Chiefs are satisfied with what happened here and they look at the Super Bowl as bonus time? Or I think everybody I talked to or heard from was talking about unfinished business and one more game, and Mahomes talked about that as well.
There was a lot of comments about that, but I did think that the celebration was worthy of the moment. It wasn't the past couple playoff games that we've seen where the focus is immediate on next week. I did think they enjoyed the moment tonight.
And what's interesting is, I believe that too, but I also believe it was sort of calibrated with the feeling of, it's 2 weeks till that next game. But I didn't feel like it was over the top either, right? I didn't feel like this was a team acting like there's no mountain left to climb.
Right.
I think they're cognizant of that, and what that all means in the end, who knows? I mean, the other squad's going to play too, and have a lot of the same stuff going on. But
I just feel like you've got tomorrow to think about the 49ers or the Packers, and obviously now we see it's the 49ers. And when you make the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years, you deserve to celebrate. And I don't think it means anything about ignoring what you have ahead.
Yeah, I think that's right.
The fact that they did it at home says a lot,
Absolutely,
too. The fact that Clark Hunt held up the Lamar Hunt trophy and said, this is for you guys, not us, but like the fans out there, best fans in the world.
It would be funny if he said this is for
Brian Hardy says the pressure's off. Chiefs will bring it in the Super Bowl. Kind of right. The getting to the Super Bowl was the pressure for the Chiefs.
I think Andy Reid changes that, though. I think the fact that,
I think so too. I feel like
they're talking so much about Andy Reid, he's never won one, 21 years. I think that adds some of the pressure back on the Chiefs a little bit.
Win one for the Gipper.
I do think there's a little bit of that.
I do know that.
That dynamics in play here, right? And team will be a reflection of Andy. I think Andy will have prospered by his previous experience, and I think he's got the quarterback he's never had before. So I think all systems will be go, but I think that does change the view of it.
Yeah. It's a team that, despite being the best team the past 2 weeks, has not played well in the first quarter for the past couple of weeks. And heck, we said this going into this game, like you mentioned, Blair, that we weren't sure they could come back against this team if they got down. The 49ers are a really good football team, and I think playing as well as anybody has in the NFL all season, consistently when you look over what's it been, 18 games now. There's a reason they're the number 1 seed. In the NFC, the Chiefs have played a 4 seed and a 6 seed. This is the best team I think they're going to face for sure in the playoffs, if not all season.
The thing that jumps out to me about the 49ers, remember when they were winning early? They were I think they were the last undefeated team in the National Football League, and they had a lot of doubters. I know I wasn't sold on them. There were 2 signature wins.
Because the schedule at that point wasn't great.
The 2 signature wins that really grabbed my attention. The one when they went to New Orleans and put up 40-plus points on, then was a top 5 defense. And then the beating Seattle. Those were huge. This is a good, almost cuss. This is a good team.
It's after dark. Cussing is loud.
All right, the 49ers are a good damn team.
Someone asked if we know.
Sorry, kids.
Oh, it's not as bad as my Christmas night a few years ago. Someone asked if we know who the home team is in the Super Bowl. I think it's the AFC team.
It's the Chiefs, and that's why I guess they'll be using the Dolphins' facilities for either the AFC factor or
Okay, and I think that means they get to pick the uniform they want to wear.
Red,
Yeah.
Will it be the all red though?
White on white. Go white. Throw it back. Throw it back.
You wear what you wore today. You wear what you wore to win the 2 playoff games.
What was Lamar Hunt's favorite uniform?
I don't know.
White on white.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was
know
what they
that.
wore in the Super Bowl they won,
Google
not
it.
the one they lost.
Google it. His favorite uniform. White on white.
Okay. Well, that's something to.
How many people out there who's going to say, Herbie's right?
Nobody ever has said that.
There's very
You
few
did today?
I did. You were right a few times today. Okay. All right, you guys. We got some more writing to do, and we're going to get back to it. So I will. We'll stop this. Stop the shenanigans, and we'll get back to the old grindstone. And we really appreciate you guys joining us. Hey, give us a thumbs up or a heart or whatever. Thumbs up. That would be nice. And give us a share. Also nice. We will be, I suspect, at Big O Tires on Thursday.
Another week.
Liberty.
Another week.
Liberty. Liberty or Legends?
Is that what we want?
Yeah, that's what we want. Liberty
Okay.
or Legends?
I think Blair and I have been good with the locations.
Yeah, I think we've been good. Let's see. Okay, very good. So for Vahe, for Herbie, for Sam, for Beth, who's been terrific all year, and for Sam Mellinger, who we'll see at Big O Tires this week. Good night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Hey, it's Blair. Hey, we have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns we have to offer. And it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. For your convenience, your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. A lot of subscription services won't tell you that. They'll just sneak it on there. We just told you. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening. That'll do it for us. I hope you get a print edition of Monday's Kansas City Star. Those are always a cool keepsake after a big victory. Hey, links to our coverage can be found in the show notes on kansascity.com and the Red Zone Extra app. Thanks to Beth Welsh for producing the Facebook Live and to Derek Donovan and Randy Mason for putting together the podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday on SportsBeat KC, where we talk sports in Kansas City every day.